Oh, how you doing? I thought it was time for a GreenGlow chat, and yeah, I'm regular EV dad. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I haven't done one of these in a while, and I thought I'd explain why. And I also thought I would talk about a couple of other things that are on my mind. Just turning down the air conditioning so that's not in the background. I'm here at my my home charger, the Electrify America DC fast charger in Allen Rock. It is 12:47 at night, just coming up on 1 a.m. on Saturday night, and I'm wearing a shirt, so that must mean I've been performing comedy, and I have. Just did a great show with Kabir Singh, who I've spoken about before, and also another headliner, a guy called Mike E. Winfield, who is hilarious, absolutely hilarious. I want to work with him again in the future. But this is really bad YouTube behavior, because you're probably going to see me put this video up at the same time as the latest podcast episode for Family EV with Joe from JKEV. But let me explain what's been going on. So I've been a bit content light recently. I mean, I've still not got the voice back. It's still a bit gravelly, but it was strong enough to get through the show. I have not spoken much all day. I do practice what I preach, so I came in here at 5%. I just bombed back from Orinda, drove up and drove back, and I only left with 40% charge. It's only 50 miles and change each way, but enthusiastic driving was required. We are charging at 128 kilowatts right now, so it's doing its job. I'm just taking this moment to record the video, get the free charge, get the heavy, what I would call the heavy, so you know, through 40%, and we'll see where we are. So why are we chatting? Well, there's things which I don't want to talk about on the podcast with Joe. I don't know Joe's politics, and I think that's a good thing, because it's so divisive these days, and I don't want to tarnish our relationship. We may think differently about certain things. And I want to talk briefly about politics as it affects EVs, and not just EVs, it affects the entire world. So if you're not wanting to hear about this, I will try and make it as humorous as I can, and I promise there'll be some jokes in. I didn't plan. Well, I planned on becoming a dad, but me and my wife, it wasn't the first thing on our mind was starting and having a family, or even expanding it, and that's something we've been hoping to do but haven't been blessed with yet. London changed everything for me. If you can't tell how much I love that little girl, then I don't know. But when I held her in my arms that first time, my world changed more than I could understand. And it's always it's always troubled me how much the legacy that I'm going to leave her. Now I have my own demons, and I'm well aware of a social legacy that an emotional legacy I don't want her to have, which I have through my own upbringing. But I want her to have a planet that's functional. COVID's changed things for a lot of people. And we have a crazy situation right now. And by the way, this may not make sense until the very end. When I'm talking, when I'm doing speeches for security or even my comedy, a lot of my stuff is about bringing things together to a shared point. And the only way I have of explaining what that looks like is the Kevin Spacey film, the name of which, The Usual Suspects. The entire film makes no sense until the very end. And that's kind of what this is going to be like. So, we have an issue, and I believe it's worldwide, but it's certainly a big issue here in the US, with a shortage of workers. And if you see my comedy show, I mention this. And I refer to short people, to little people, as being the problem. Being short-staffed is hurting business, and that's down to little people. And that's not true. I was in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, all last week with my wife and with London. And my job was to bring London to the show each day, and I would pick up coffee and donuts for those that had been in the field since 4 a.m. grooming dogs. And we have been recommended to get donuts, which are made on demand and glazed on demand at a place called Duck Donuts. Duck Donuts out of Allentown, Pennsylvania, if you really care. First day we went there, they were a bit short-staffed. They only had 3 people working there. This was had to be 7 o'clock in the morning, just before. But we got our order and everything was fine. We went back. We didn't go back the next day because we were off somewhere else, but we went back the day after that. And the guy taking the orders, you could tell this was his first job. I would go as far as to say his mom had taken him to work that day. He was out of his depths, and this was taking coffee orders. He got every single coffee wrong. The donuts were fine. The donut order was great. But I asked myself at the time, where are they getting these people? Where are the people that used to, work in these places? And I have skin in the game. If you follow me on LinkedIn, John Garside, no H, I will announce that I am the Chief Marketing Officer for a security startup in a couple of days' time. And I'm hiring. I'm hiring marketing people. And I'm as surprised as you are that happened. Anyway, this mount's been absolutely fine for ages. This is normally the mount I use for the forward-facing camera, the time-lapse camera, so whatever. There is a dearth of talent, a dearth of people, a shortage of people, and I'm not offering $15 and a $500 sign-on bonus. I'm not. I'm paying $150 an hour for people to do what I do or what I need. If I did it, I wouldn't need it. 30% and still charging. 31% and still charging at full speed, despite having nearly 20,000 miles on the car. 20,000 is what? 19,905. That's crazy. Done a lot of miles this year I didn't expect to. We have this shortage of people that are unwilling to take on jobs in the service sector or even jobs in marketing that don't meet their requirements, and that's fine. People have the right to ask for better. Whether they get them or not is a matter of the market, of collective bargaining power, of need, of want, and a marriage of all those elements together. I'm not some bloody left-leaning, democratic, communist European. Like I said, I'm a CMO for a private business, equity-backed. I'm all about the market making decisions. I live and die by my success. My ability to put London through college is directly correlated to my ability to create a strategy and execute successfully. That's it. No one gonna. I get no benefit, no government assistance if anything bad happens. I'm an immigrant. I'm very tired. I shouldn't have been doing this show because, like I said, I drove from Newark to San Francisco in 3.5 days this week. It's been quite the week. Now, like I said, this will make sense at the end, but you know, these people are not wanting to do these jobs, which means that less than perfect people are taking these jobs. I don't know anybody that woke up wanting to be a coal miner. Just because your dad did it doesn't mean, and you being proud of your dad and wanting to be like your dad, those are good things. But coal miners don't want their sons to become coal miners. Black lung is not something you should pass on. But some of the places where they mine coal haven't had the same opportunities that other places have. We don't mine coal in Silicon Valley. And I understand that, you know, pride and heritage often run together. And that's not always a good thing. This electric car that I'm lucky enough to drive and enjoy driving, it needs energy. We've had energy issues over the past couple of months and years. Physics tells us there's a finite amount of energy available. Energy comes from the destruction of matter, or the conversion of matter between various states. And we have periodic shortages of electricity. We have to choose how we're going to produce it, whether we do it through solar, through nuclear, or wind, on the renewable. And yeah, I know nuclear is not technically a renewable, but the amount of energy required to create energy is much lower. It has a return on investment on par at scale with those other systems. Yes, there is a long-term issue, and that's a whole other video and a different conversation. It is a problem. We need to work with the likes of Westinghouse and create, thorium salt reactors, which are designed with better safety in mind. But, you know, we're going to need this energy. It's got to come from somewhere, and we need it when we need it. Joe Manchin is standing in the way of that right now. There cannot be genuine suggestion at this point that climate change isn't real. The climate change is not going to have a profound effect, 43% at 106, on future generations. I want my kid to do whatever she wants, whether it's be a ballerina, unicorn breeder, or a scientist. I'm fairly sure that those miners in the Appalachia, in Joe Manchin's state, don't want their kids to get black lung. But climate denial is so often I don't want to be the person that says that their kid can't do what they did because they feel that it's part of their pride, part of their heritage, part of their history, part of their. history is history for a reason, because it doesn't make sense to do it anymore. Whether that's mining coal, whether that's producing oil, whether that's getting gas. I struggle to understand. I do understand. It's about getting votes. It's about not offending people. It's about not challenging them. It's not about being honest with them. You're welcome to your own opinion. But the data's not, is incontrovertible. And even if you think it might happen as quickly as it's been happening, and it is happening right now. And we need more renewable energy to make this thing the normal. So I'm in California, and I just driving back from Orinda, I counted easily 30 Teslas. They're ubiquitous. And here's the crazy thing. Those people that have been, you can't buy a Tesla for delivery this year. It's October the 19th, 17th. You can't buy a Tesla for delivery this year. And there is no federal rebate available on them. That is demand. That is value, and that is demand. We have to meet the demand to fuel those vehicles. There's a cost of producing oil in terms of energy. Fractional distillation requires heat, that requires energy. We need to divert. We need to try and give our kids the opportunity to fix our problems. There were never going to be, cutting things wasn't going to get us to a good point in 2030. But it would give our kids time to develop the technologies and practices and processes to save us all. And in the process, if those kids can't work in coal mines, they'll work somewhere else. They'll create opportunities for themselves. Or we'll have to do it for them. But it's not sustainable. Joe Manchin needs to think of tomorrow, of all the tomorrows. Change isn't easy. It's not fun. Can be. But it is often required. It's called evolution. And it's what's required. Alright, that's my rant. Let's talk briefly about the car. I touched on it briefly in the podcast. The fact that we haven't had a software update is driving me mad. There are so many bugs that need to be fixed on this. I want to be able to see a percentage without going into 3 screens. I'm very frustrated with Volkswagen right now. Very frustrated. Apparently, speaking to somebody who knows these things, this patch, the update was meant to be pushed 2 weeks ago after a good chunk of the GTXs, the 4-wheel drives, had been delivered, but it's not happened. So it is what it is. If you're in Southern California, I will be at Ha-Ha's in Hollywood on November the 13th, and I will be in San Diego Comedy Club in the Gaslight area on Sunday the 14th, and then I will be at the Punchline in Sacramento on a Friday TBA, again with Kabir Singh. I'll put a note in the thing. If you have been, thanks for watching, for listening to my rant, which as it doesn't make sense to the end, but we have to provide the energy to enable this future, and we have to do it in a sustainable way, and those producing it need good quality lives as well. I hope that's something we can agree on. Be safe.